I feel incredibly blessed to be at Grace Lutheran Church, and one of Grace Lutheran Church's pastors in particular, to see the kind of growth that happens around this place all the time. It happens in people who are very, very young, and as you might know, there are children who, not only in Grace Bible School, but children and families who are baptized, and I see those families nurturing children, and the growth in faith begins at that earliest stage. I see them as they go into Grace Bible School and through confirmation, through high school, and then of course into adult education. And so it's really a privilege but joyful for me to see how families, how individuals take that faith that's given in baptism and then let it grow. Learning takes place all kinds of ways here, and as I mentioned, whether it's in Grace Bible School or confirmation, or down to actually families where Bibles are given to 2-year-olds and families share that faith, learning is such an important part of that growth. I think of learning as dealing with the head and the mind and how people put in their minds things important for their life of faith. When I think of the word faith, I also think of not only the head but the heart. And the heart is so important to nourish and to nurture what's going on there. In our hearts, for instance, I'm thinking about worship and prayer and fellowship of people, I think, people getting together, where hearts are nourished and faith grows because of those relationships in many, many beautiful ways. So faith has to do a lot with the heart. I think learning has to do with the head. And one other thing I'm thinking about in this stewardship season is that faith also grows through what we do, and I mean in our serving, and I use the image of our hands. We of course experience things with our heart and we learn things with our head, but our hands are the places where we express those things that are that come out of our faith. And so that sign which is above Grace's door so beautifully says that this is a place where generosity and graciousness abound. And I see that happening day after day, week after week, as people use their hands, let's say, to express that faith which we nurture in this place. So again, I would say that I feel incredibly blessed to be able to see the lives of people from the youngest, the baptized, all the way to our seniors and our elders in the congregation, growth that continues to take place, I think, as learning in the head and faith in the heart and faith expressed through the hands is carried out and continues in this place week after week and day after day. Many of us who walk into this church building, Grace Lutheran Church, week by week, see that sign above the door which says Grace is a people in a place where generosity and graciousness abound. And for me, every time I look at that, I often say it's both descriptive and prescriptive. It describes who we are, a people in a place where generosity and graciousness abound. It's also meant to be helpful to encourage us to think about that. And that means, as I read those words and I leave this place, the growth of faith that I experience within these walls through worship and prayer and fellowship of people, I find it a good reminder as I'm leaving to know that the same generosity and graciousness that I experience in this place is something that I'm supposed to take with me and take it outside the walls of this church and into the community and into the world that God loves so much. So I think of those phrases, those things which to our church have become so important. When I think of people growing in their faith, I'm thinking about how generous and how gracious not only God is, but that God in Christ calls us to be.
Well, I serve on the Stewardship Commission because I'm really passionate about Grace. Grace has done so much for me and my family. I joined Grace back in 2004, actually after my mother-in-law died, in support of my father-in-law. I didn't know what I was getting into, I guess, and didn't know what a great place this was until I came here. It was only then that I realized that this was home for me and my family. We had a couple more funerals here then that really solidified my relationship with the people here at Grace. My father-in-law died in October of 2005, and then my late wife passed away in February of 2006, and this place embraced us and supported us through all that. And now Grace is helping me raise my children in this faith. That's all a backdrop to why I now serve on the Stewardship Commission, is because I am passionate about this place. I really truly can say I love this place. This place has done so much for me. Serving now in that capacity and doing what I do to help out with the Christmas program and playing my horn here when I can is about giving back now for all the things that I've received from Grace. And it's really only a small part of what I've received. What I can do is just a small piece of the gratitude that I feel towards this place. I'm passionate about stewardship because I think it's important in our discipleship journey to be stewards of all the gifts that God has given to us. We are only just keepers of that stuff. We can't take any of it with us, and we need to approach it as if that gift we need to multiply, much like Christ did. We need to then spread it out among the world, and it starts here with our congregation, but it goes into then the community through Feed My Starving Children, through the Luther Memorial Congregation that we support in Minneapolis. It's important that we take our gifts now and use through the whole congregation, then we can multiply our gifts and turn it into a big pile of money or time or talent and spread it out throughout the community and the world.
I love the programs. Mark was mentioning, why do you make decorations for Vacation Bible School? Because my kids are 16 and 21, so they're obviously not coming to VBS anymore, but it's something that I started doing long ago when my kids were little, and one, it's fun to do. I've made a lot of friends doing it, and then just to see the excitement in the kids that come to VBS, I think that adds another aspect to their week. They could still obviously do the music and the crafts without the decorations, but the more we can add to that experience for them, the better. So yeah, that's why I do it. I guess at the very base of things, and what I always try to tell my kids is that if you see something that needs to be done and you're able to do it, then do it. You don't wait for someone else to do it. We have, like with the cooking and stuff that I do, I always think we have food at home, or we have the ability to make a meal. Someone who's sick maybe can't do that, or so I just feel like you enrich yourself by giving back some of what you already have.
Well, it just made me realize that, there are so many differences from, my world to the people in Guatemala, and it was just, really eye-opening to see, to kind of compare what they have and what we have, and, physically they don't have a lot of the same stuff we have, but, I think they have I think they have better relationships with people rather than with their stuff. I just kind of learned that, to respect people for the situations that they're in, I guess, and to just kind of like be more observant, I guess, than just jump to conclusions. I would definitely encourage them to go because if they haven't before, it's like a new experience, and you kind of just you might like find a side you don't even know you had, and they're a lot of fun. Well, when I first got back from Guatemala, I noticed that like I didn't watch like hardly any TV as much. I really wasn't like sitting in my house doing nothing. I felt more like urge to do stuff and like I don't really know, not like sit on the couch, I guess. But and then I think that it's like my trip from Guatemala like helped me understand differences in cultures and people. The best part of going on these trips, I would have to say, is well, either like bonding more with the people you know or building more friendships with people you don't know as much and just having a good time.
Of the youth, I think I'm friends with some of them on Facebook, and it's very interesting to me how when they come back from these trips, everything is hashtag blessed, and the whole world is rosy, and they have so many great ideas and things to do. I think a lot of that is sparked with the mission trips and the camps. I love the fact that the high school group has grown so much. My son, who graduated this year, when he was in 8th grade, we had 9 people that went on the mission trip. This year there's a waiting list after 36, so it's definitely growing. I love to see how they bond together. At the start of a mission trip, when nobody really knows each other, even if you know each other, they're all paired off in their groups that they came with. And I think the same is true in the youth groups here. When you drop the kids off, they're all in separate parts of the room, and by the time you go to pick them up, they're all cuddling and can't wait to see each other again next week. So. See, I don't know if I read these things on Facebook about everybody being blessed when they get back, or if it's more that I'm feeling that way. There's definitely an energy on the mission trips that follows you around afterwards. And I get busy, and then I go on a mission trip and I come back and I remember to take time to say thank you and think about all the things that we have that they don't have in inner city Chicago, where we were this year.
We're just finishing our 19th year at Community Meals, and Community Meals is a good program, and it serves the community in a lot of ways. Our goal mainly is to serve a nutritious meal to the people in the community in a friendly, warm environment. And our guests come from varied backgrounds, and they come for different reasons. Some of them are having financial difficulties and need a meal, and others are in transition. And there's also a contingent that just come because they like the social or the fellowship aspect of a nice meal with friendly people. And we serve about 73 meals, guests per meal. That's an average. And so, and we spend about an average of $230 per meal to feed those 73 people. It's a really strong program. I've been there for over 10 years, and it's something that I really enjoy doing. It kind of makes my day when all these people come in. A lot of them are regulars, and you recognize faces, and they enjoy seeing you. And you know, sometimes that you're the first smile they've seen that day, or anybody has talked to them or something, or been really nice, or you give them a hug or something, and you know that you've just made their day, and it makes you feel good as well, that some of these people are live by themselves. I think it brings people together in a, like we said, in a warm, caring environment, and to know that they are loved and that we are there to help if needed, and it's just something that makes you feel good as well as hopefully making them feel good.
Katie, and I can't remember the other girl's name.
Okay. But were they good teachers?
Yeah,
Oh, they were, huh? Were they crabby or were they nice?
they were nice.
Oh, good.
We learned about Jesus and God. Once in a while, he hands out some candy. One day he did the strings, not strings, but laces. He's making everything about church really fun. I would feel upset because there's no more family camp. I would be sad because there's no more BBS. BBS is pretty fun.
Lots of things that the people and the pastors we've had have had an amazing effect on our lives. back from up north early so we wouldn't miss a Wednesday service last week. Again, this week, we're going tomorrow instead of going yesterday because of that. Just, again, people, pastors, staff are amazing at this place. Giving, kind, and loving. The sign on the entrance explains it all. I don't know, I could go on and on and on about Grace. Well, I was at a meeting, this is several years ago now, and it was, actually it was an AA meeting. They have them Friday nights here, and in walks, I knew him as a kid. He lived in this, had formerly lived in this neighborhood, now lived in Prescott, Wisconsin, but he needed this, and I asked him, well, why did you come so far? He said, because this place was always known to be a safe place. This church home, is a safe place. He didn't happen to be a Lutheran, but he knew of it as a safe place to go to talk. So. It not only is our church home, it's our hobby. My wife does some volunteer work. This is as I do, and this is just fun instead of work. Again, can't stress enough how important the staff is. Walk into the office during the week. If they're not all working, which is what they do, they're laughing, smiling. That goes from the senior pastor right on through everyone. Worship, peace, stimulates my mind, causes me to think things through. Sometimes I don't always like to hear what I hear because it kind of hits home. Sometimes it makes me squirm a bit, but that's good.
Well, one of the first things I remember about coming to Grace was kind of how everybody opened their arms to you and how they tried to get to know you. The pastors, it's not like you were just another person. They tried to get to know you and to know what your personality and what best fit you with God and where you needed to kind of be placed in the church. I know that this is a place I can always come to, that I can call up the pastor and talk to them. I can, because I have a personal relationship with everybody here, it really has helped me grow very much, not only with God, but with everything else, with school and friends, and knowing that this is just a place I can always come to. Seeing how this church isn't just for adults and teenagers, it's also for the younger kids as well. I have been, the kids that I went to Sunday school with are also the kids that I'm now in confirmation with. We've kind of grown up as friends together. We go to the same school. We went to preschool here. We've just all grown up together inside and outside school. And going to camps and mission trips just show you that it's not just sitting and participating in the church. You can also go to a 3-day camp and do all these fun activities that show you that you need to trust in God, or you might not get where you want to be. I was struggling a lot a few months ago, and I really didn't know what to do. I had so many questions about myself and about God, and I called up Pastor Therese, and she came over to my house and talked with me and my parents for 2 hours. So that was where it just makes you happy that you don't go to the huge church where there's 1,000 people and everyone knows you here. And you do have a personal relationship with them where you can call them up and they will visit to your house, make time for you. I had surgery in December, and Julie and Pastor Therese came a few minutes before I went into surgery, and they prayed with me, and it really helped me because it was a scary thing. I've had surgery before, and I think that was the easiest surgery because they were there, because I knew they cared about me and that I was in God's hands and they were praying for me. I've been at Grace for 12 years now. I've been through Sunday school, I've been through VBS, and now I'm in confirmation. It's the different stages, and what you learn in the different stages is pretty amazing with how they target the different age groups, but how you're kind of learning almost the same thing, how they can teach the same exact thing to a 6-year-old and to a 13-year-old. Confirmation is a really good, one of my favorite things about coming here. It's not like you just sit down and talk. It's kind of a fun, upbeat kind of, not just sitting and talking. There's activities and there's movies, and that's one of the things I really like about it.
Well, Pastor Therese came to me and said, "You are already visiting Dart's senior companion." That's what I am. And so I've done that for 5 years. And she said, you would be a good candidate to be a befriender. So I visit people with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, stroke survivors, some of them in nursing homes, some in private settings. And the people that are mobile, I can take out and walk the mall or have coffee. The people that are in wheelchairs and can't move, I can play cards or dice or dominoes. So Pastor Therese said, will you? And I said, yes. It's something that it comes natural to me. Every person has a story. And as senior citizens, I am one myself. So this is a two-way street. And we listen. That's our whole Befriender mission is we're not solving a problem, we are just there, we're a presence. And so this is something that I have in my nature. I am service-oriented. From the time I was in elementary school, in Boy Scouts, I just feel like I have to give back to the community. And that's a two-way street. It's a joy. So, in a nutshell, that's it.
Stewardship is just one opportunity to serve here at Grace. I chose to do that because of my passion for stewardship, but there are a lot of other opportunities for people to serve here at Grace. And they're really good. The highway cleanup crew, that's an important piece of community stewardship, to keep our planet clean, one little piece at a time. There's the music ministry. We've got such great music here. There's opportunities for people to play whatever instruments they want to play. There's opportunities to teach. I'm so proud of the fact that when the call has gone out for Bible school teachers and confirmation mentors and opportunities to work with the youth, it seems like the call has only had to go out once. People have stepped up and filled those roles. I was a confirmation guide for 3 years. What a great opportunity that was. I got to watch kids grow through their adolescence from 6th grade to 8th grade, watch them mature, work with them and help them process some of the questions. I also was a mentor. One of the great opportunities I had as a mentor was my young mentee came to me and said, you know, I believe in Jesus and all, but this whole miracle thing, I'm really having a hard time getting my arms around this miracle thing. I'm not sure that those miracles really happen. After some thought, I was able to say to him, you know, I've had those feelings too. That seems really unbelievable. But you don't have to buy into being a believer in all these miracles. If you believe about Christ and being a good person and following in his example, that's good enough. You don't have to believe that he walked on water necessarily to be a good Christian. That just can be something you can learn about later and think about, but it doesn't disqualify you from being a Christian if you don't believe in walking on water.
Grace Delivers is a fairly new ministry. I think Laurel started it and I took it over from her not too long ago, but what we do, it's a group of people. We meet approximately once a month, once every other month, and we make meals, put them in the freezer, so then the parish nurses and the pastors can take them to people in the congregation if they are visiting, if they're sick or had surgery, having a baby, that kind of thing. So it's I've met some new people doing it, which has been fun, and we've heard back from the parish nurses numerous times that the people who receive the meals are so grateful that they have that, not only the food, but the caring that goes along with it. So it's been kind of a fun ministry.
Grace has really impacted me spiritually in a couple of ways. First of all, it's through the worship. I love worshiping here. And it's not even about so much the worship itself, it's the congregation and all the fellow worshipers that have led me to grow in my faith and spirituality. But also in serving as a stewardship commission member, that's taken it to another level for me as well. In studying about stewardship, I've learned what it means to be a good steward. I've learned about what Christ has told us as to be a disciple. And also in learning in some of the Old Testament stories about being stewards, I guess, of God's gifts. We weren't disciples back then, obviously, as Christ wasn't around. But to be a good steward is to, again, like I said before, to multiply the gifts that God gave us. And through that, we learn and can grow spiritually. And it feels good to help other people. Through that, we learn to be better Christians, I think.
I'm Peter Rognus. I serve alongside of you as Bishop of the St. Paul Area Synod, of which you're a part. Everything you've seen in these last few minutes have been stories of ministry that people at Grace have been a part of over the years, ministry you've personally been a part of, ministry in places far away from you that you've made happen. What we hope you discover in all this is that life takes on meaning and richness as you become a part of something that makes lives of other people better. Whether it's on mission trips that you go on, in the kinds of study, service, worship that you do at Grace, in the ways you partner with other people, all of that makes your life better and richer. And that's what the body of Christ does throughout the whole world. You have a taste of what it's like to make people's life better in Guatemala. You are a part of that kind of life-enriching work in 50 countries around the world. You help Lutheran Memorial Hmong Congregation in Minneapolis. You help Hmong ministries in St. Paul just by virtue of being a part of the St. Paul Area Synod that we're a part of. We hope these stories that you've seen these days gives you a shot of energy and excitement about what it is to be a part of the people of God. The people of God at Grace Church, the people of God in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, part of the body of Christ in the world.